want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearing house for the mind. Welcome to episode 3 of House of Asher. This thing we're going to touch on is about bad omens. And, of course, I'm Steve Asher. You see me coming, I might be a bad omen as well. But regardless, now that I got that out of the way. There's been a lot of different things that constitute a bad omen, and it depends on culture, it depends on various belief systems, and all this and that. And some of the things that I was going to talk about was one of those things that is more of a cultural thing, and it's connected more to the Appalachian areas of Kentucky and West Virginia and stuff like that. And okay, a lot of people used to have feather pillows, down pillows with duck feathers, chicken feathers, horse feathers, whatever kind of feathers they can find. And what would happen, the person's sick and they'd lay in bed, and I guess they'd sweat through, whatever, and on. That's what happened, and the feathers would tend to kind of ball up, almost like a big mass of hair, or it looked almost like a wreath or a halo. They would say, and they would call these angel feathers. And a lot of times people believed this was a sign that the person that was infirmed was about to pass. And sometimes people would start this off. They would, check the pillow. If they seen this, they would make sure to loosen them up and spread them throughout the pillow. So maybe in the mindset of, well, we break the circle, which, you go back to a lot of mystical magic type of things. You break the circle. Generally, you break the power of the spell, or you break the hold of the spell, or you, whatever, you must never break the chain, I think is what Fleetwood Mac said. And this is one of those examples. But the thing is, when they did break the chain, at least they thought that they could save the infirmed person. My mom's people from that area, and I've not really heard a lot of that. You can find collections, actually, of these halos and feather halos, or crowns. A lot of people call them crowns, in the Museum of Appalachia in Tennessee. Which, why not? Of course, we're going to have a collection of death feathers. It's kind of metal, but it's kind of sad too. But anyway, another thing was black butterflies. A lot of times, anything negative tends to be, like crows or ravens, and like the Black Death, the image of something that was dark or evil with blackness, causing disease or decay. The human body breaks down and blackens and whatnot. So anyway, especially places like in Texas, a lot of people believe that a black butterfly flies into your home, it can cause death. So, it just depends on where you're at. This is sort of rival stuff that goes on in Mexico as well. But I know also that certain people believe if you see regular butterflies, especially if you're thinking of someone who's passed, especially like a yellow butterfly, and there's like no others around, it's just there. Supposedly that's a good omen, conversely, of a person that you've lost, and they're there thinking of you. So, I don't know. You put your faith where you want it, and that's just what I hear. Halley's Comet's been blamed for a bunch of death and destruction. I could see if it came too close to the Earth and the tail passed right through the atmosphere, like something off Thundar the Barbarian, and the moon cracks in half, and yada yada. But as far as I know, that's not happened in this you know, millennia or whatever with humanity. Another one is, which I'll say this. Now, I could see you looking out the window and go, hey, let's have this comet. Boom, hit a car. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. You can kill a bunch of people that way. But anyway, another thing people would talk about is seeing an apparition of, or like a double of a person. Like, say, you're in the living room, this and that. Your grandmother, you see your grandmother come scooting through the hallway into the kitchen. And you're like, what's Meemaw doing here? It's not Thanksgiving, you know. Maybe she'll make me some waffles. I love a waffle, right? Well, you go into the kitchen. Meemaw's split. Meemaw's down the hill. And she's not there. No one's there. No one's brought Meemaw. And a lot of times people would say, within a few hours, maybe the next day, they get a call. Meemaw kicked it. And that happens. Obviously, an older person, maybe you're thinking of a person, especially if they've been sick, they're on your mind. Your mind plays tricks sometimes. I'm not saying that's what it is. That's just an observation, people. I'm not trying to attack your bad omens. But now, obviously, if it's a very healthy person, a person that has never really, dealt with a lot of infirmities, of course, that could freak you out. Something that struck me really odd. Some people believed, or possibly still believe, that certain growth developments in children can be considered a deathly omen. Say, all right, say you have a son and he grows out and he has longer, fairly long, thin fingers, So you're thinking, hey, bet this guy's going to be a great pianist, or can play the cello, or whatever, do some mean thumb wrestling or something. I don't know. But certain cultures believe that some of the fingers that go beyond what would be considered a normal span, would fall into the range of, oh, well, this child is fated to die. To use a famous quote, it's got a death curse. So there's that. Again, touching on solar events and astronomical events, solar eclipses. I know that solar eclipses, just like comets and just like a lot of different things, tie in with early mysticism and spiritualism. And this may be a kind of a hangover from those days. I don't have a hangover, I just can't talk. A hangover from those early times that just bled into our modern, lexicon and mindset of what is good and what's evil. Apparently, opals, which have been long believed to increase magical presence, occult powers, and whatnot. A lot of people said they thought these were evil, and that these things could be very, very negative. And a lot of time people say it was connected with the Black Death, and a lot of people said that they would see victims with these type of stones. Oh, it's the stones. Of course, the stones are killing them, not the rats infested with fleas that they sleep with at night. But there's that. Again, a lot of this is not my choices, guys. This is sort of just what comes up. And that's not really something that I prescribe to. Another thing I don't prescribe to is that black cats are classic symbols of bad omens. This is just some stuff that, of course, a lot of practicing Wiccans and whatever have familiars. I know a fair amount of witches, and they have familiars of some level or another. And one of the most coveted and loved of all those were cats, especially black cats. And this is why, especially during Halloween, they will tell you, if you have a cat, especially if you have a black cat, please lock it up. Because someone's going to try to kidnap it and carve it up and do something ungodly to this poor creature. And so, but, again, this comes back from the deal of, like, the old thing, if you see one approaching, it can be, especially at midnight, especially if it's crossing at midnight, it's a sure sign of impending death. That's why they always say someone will walk in front of you or in front of a funeral procession. That means like another family member of, say, the deceased will pass away. That's why, I don't know about you, anytime I used to see a black cat, I would do a little X. No clue what that was. It was some sort of hoodoo stuff my family taught me. That's another story for another time. But that is what they believe. So there it is. Don't ask me. I'm not here to tell you. A lot of people, this ties into early mysticism and druid belief and whatever you want to call it. That nature will tell you. A peach tree can foretell a death, and the family is coming. In your yard or in your area if it blooms very early. Sometimes they say that that a planted cedar tree that dies in your yard means someone will pass, but you can take the tree off the property, and that fixes it right up. So, boom, look at that. So it's again where it ties into sort of stuff like that. Another thing where animals are considered bad omens. Some people believe that owls bear bad news and death, impending death, all that kind of stuff. I've seen a lot of owls in my time. I'm still here. I've seen a lot. I used to deliver newspapers years ago, and I'd see owls weekly, if not every few nights. And that's the thing. Apparently, superstition dates way back to like Roman Emperor Antonius. Apparently, there is an owl seen perched over his bed door chamber, not very long before his death. And someone got the idea of going, oh, it must be the owl. It must not be the copious amounts of whatever sort of indulgences this king was doing, or maybe he spent too many nights at the vomitorium, or I don't know. But the point is, that's another little thing that touches on. If you think about like broken mirrors, bring 7 years bad luck. Some people would say the bad luck was, your health may be at risk for 7 years, and once you get past those 7 years, it's fine. Some people say if you broke the glass, you broke it into smaller pieces where it wouldn't reflect anything, then you're A-okay. Which seems like you would just amplify exponentially your bad luck for all eternity, but maybe not. And then some people say, well, if you put it in running water, which running water, of course, if you know anything about mysticism, has an energy, it sort of can cancel out, witches don't supposed to be able to travel over running water. And, some people thought vampires could not do that as well. And anyway, there's power to running water. And then some people said if you wait 24 hours, come back and take said shards and bury them, you're okay too. Same thing goes with broken portraits, can signify death. Being in the South, and we still hold on to a lot of Victorian era idiosyncrasies, if you want to call that, or crazy BS, what you're going to call it. You take your pick. I live here, so I'll say idiosyncrasies. A lot of people, not as much now, but would put something over a portrait, or sometimes they would turn portraits around, or they would take portraits completely out of the room and just, during the time of mourning. I don't know what all cultures still do that. Obviously, I know there's still some cultures that will take, ashes and sprinkle it over their hair and rub it in their face, and that's part of their mourning. That's part of them grieving and getting past that. And so, who am I to throw rocks? So, but anything broken like that, broken china, little things like that. You could even be making bread, and it cracks down the center some which way, and somebody reads it wrong. And it all goes, like I said, it goes into interpretation, and it's not, again, something for me to judge or whatever. But think about things like, even the step on a crack, break your mother's back. Who come up with that? I want to hear the story of that. But there's a lot of other omens, and I'm trying to not be too long-winded, but I'm trying to kind of encapsulate all this different stuff. And I'm not even touching on like Asian, India beliefs, different faiths as much, but I will know a little something about like hellhounds and the howling dogs. I know something about, banshees, Irish Scottish folklore. A wailing woman foretells death, and it's just it is what it is. I mean, again, birds are famous for it. Ravens, crows, obviously vultures, things like that. There's a lot of different things. Some people say white birds flying into your house will foretell that type of thing. We used to have a thing when I was a kid. If a bird flies into the window and kills itself or it falls at your door, then that could be a bad omen, or it could mean like your windows are really clean and this bird's not super bright. Um, but that's that. Um, Beyond that, like I said, there's just different little things. There's the talk about the knock. There's a thing where you do 3 knocks, and that's supposed to be something that's super not cool, and it makes it to where you more or less are having like a warning that death is coming, which um, classically my dad was a police officer. So anytime he knocked on the door, to check somebody out, you need to boom, 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 like that. Which, depending on how they act, death could be coming. My dad was a pretty hardcore cop. He didn't take a lot of lip from people. But anyway, another story. Another story. But that's some of the ones that I can think of. Like I said, and I think I covered a fair amount of them. If you have some, leave a comment. Leave it here. Hopefully like it. Hopefully subscribe to my page. Make it better. What's something you really like? What's something that you're sick of? What's something you can't stand? How can it make it better? How can you make it go away? I don't know. I'm here. I don't plan on going anywhere. But respond and let me know what you think. And like I said, tell your friends if you like it. Again, uh, Steve E. Asher, all lowercase and together, is my main webpage. I write through Simon & Schuster and through Bermuda Press. I also have, I've got actually one of the shirts on today. Yes. Nice, right? Yeah, I think so. The folks at Posh Embroidery in Princeton, Kentucky have this. You can find them on Facebook. Tell them Steve sent you, and to give you a good rate, or you're going to step on a bunch of cracks and crack their mom's back. So no, don't tell them that. God, please don't tell them that. But just say, hey, Stevie sent me. They'll give you the business. So again, thanks for tuning in. It's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys listening to me yap and doing this and that. I'm hoping on this next episode, rather, to have some emails and stuff from you guys, because I'm starting to get a little bit of stuff in, but I want to get enough that it's worth mentioning, and lined up some guests. So we'll do this. It may not necessarily be video, maybe audio, but either way, it still should be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing it. I'm trying my best for you guys. So anyway, this is Steve Asher for House of Asher. That worked out nicely. Saying thank you for tuning in. Have a good evening. Listen out for the things in the closet. Stay scared.